I'm Rick Platt from Wellington IT, and I'm going to take you through some of the features of the alerting system built into the Scion system. Scion has a very comprehensive alerting system. It's built into many areas of the system and allows you to keep your members informed of activities and keep the credit union itself informed of activities going on in members' accounts as they happen. First off, I'm going to show you the alert system, all the different alerts that are available to you to use, and then I'll go on and describe to you how we can then use them and link them to members' accounts. The first screen I'll show you is the main alert maintenance screen, which shows you all the different types of alerts that are available within the system and how they can be configured for use. This screen here shows you the list of them all here. There's the code, they all have a code, they have a description and various features about them. So each alert has a code. It can optionally have a transaction type, and these are for specific alerts relating to specific transactions. So we can define an alert to occur when any type of transactions occur. This one here is set up with ATM. So that means when you get an ATM transaction type occurring on an account, an alert will generate. The other columns allow you to configure how those are handled regarding permissions and things. So the first one there is, does it require authority? So has the member opted in to GDPR consents for the type of alert, be it text or email? Do we record it on the system as a specific record? Do we display it as in the maintenance screen? This add a ID is, do we add the account number on if we're going to use texting? So just to maintain some level of anonymity about the text. The message code here is quite important, and this is the message that is embedded in the alert. And these are all maintained by the standard message maintenance system, and it uses positional parameters to replace data within the message itself. The next one's quite important. It means that whenever somebody's set up on the alert system, initially it will get set up automatically, this alert. So commonly people would set up things like a birthday message or a loan application status change message. Then we can also define here what the default alert type is. Is it text? Is it email? Is it web? And then the date that that's active and available from. So if you look at this list, there is, I think, about 43 defined here on the system. But again, it could be extended with more by different transaction types. But I'll show you how they're linked in the main alert system later on. I mentioned that each message was using a standard message, so I'll show you how these are configured then. So in the standard message maintenance screen, we have our message defined here. So each code links to the alert, and then down here in the text section is the text of the alert. And you can see these numbers here. These indicate positional locations in the message, which we replace with dynamic text. So the account number, the amount, the date and time that transaction happened on. That we can't just invent these. These are all predefined and documented. So we can change the surrounding text around here, but that's it. We can't automatically just put the data into it. They have to be predefined values. I can show you one area with the system where the alerts are directly linked into it, and this is in our account accesses. So the account accesses are a very powerful feature in Scion. So every time activities happen on accounts, we record details about that activity. So it's an ideal thing to link an alert to. So we can see here the screen that shows you all the available access types. There's many hundreds of them in fact, and each type of action can have an alert type linked to it. So we can define an access type that's saying an example is a web standing order suspended, and then we can generate an alert which could send a text out to the member if that happened, or it could send an email or whatever alert is defined for that account. It just shows you how embedded they are into everything. They're embedded into transaction types, they're embedded into activity in an account, and then they're also embedded into specific events that happen on the system. And I'll show you that in another area now. What we can do for programs is we can define what alerts that they generate, or what they set up whenever you're processing. So, for example, in loan application maintenance, we can define here on the screen what alerts in this tab here are set up automatically whenever a loan is created in the system. So it's telling us here that a text message alert will be set up for a loan application change alert whenever a loan is created, refinanced or amended, and it will prompt you to ask you. So in other words, whenever a new loan application is handled on the system, it'll automatically prompt you after you've accepted it to say, do you want to set the member up for loan application changes alerts? If they're not already set up, it won't ask you. So you can define the type of alert and when it happens. Another example of this would be the debit card program. So whenever we're setting up an alert, a new debit card, it'll prompt you for these two items here. So do you want an authorization alert and do you want a cancel authorization alert? And these can be prompted or they can be automatically set up. It's up to how it's configured or how you want it configured. The main screen used to configure the alert system on a member basis is the alert maintenance screen. This is the main alert screen, the alert maintenance screen, and I'll show you on a sample account how this is configured. So we're seeing here this account. It's important to remember that it is person-based, this too, so it's based on the tenant linked to the account. So this account is only a single account, so it's not prompting me as to which member we want to set the alert up for. So obviously for joint accounts, you can configure different alerts for each of the different members on the account. You can see here the three different alert types. We can expand them too, so there'll be future ones for different types of alerts. Could be WhatsApp messages, could be push messages in the app. So we can configure each of those different types differently. So the simple ones are the email alerts and the text alerts. The online alerts are messages that generate to your online area of the members, so it becomes a secure message that appears in their inbox online. Down here we can look at their basic details, so I can change the mobile number, I can change the mobile provider. That's not as relevant anymore as long as you key one in, and there's probably a default defined for you already, and then the email address. So these are important, and these are linked to the person, remember, and across all their accounts. So if I go into this, I select the type of alert I want, and then I click amend or create, and it throws me into the main screen here. And this is the screen that allows you to look at all the different alert types and the different systems, and allows you to set them up. Now, this is a very simple account. He's only got a share and a loan balance. And the first tab shows me is the balance alert section. This is a very simple account, and it has only two balances on it, and the first screen we're seeing here, it only has two schemes, the shares and the loan. And on this we can set limit alerts, as we call them. So is the balance below a certain amount? Is it above a certain amount? Is a lodgement into it above a certain amount? Is a withdrawal above a certain amount? And has the arrears reached a certain amount? So these are all customizable, and then whenever that event occurs, a text or email or alert will be generated to the member. The second page allows us to find statements. So these are regular statements, very, very short, brief statements to the member about the transactions on a specific scheme. So with the share account, I'm going to say I want this weekly statement, I want to get it every Tuesday, and it starts today. That wee test button allows you to generate a test message. So that's saying I'm going to get a brief statement sent by email every Tuesday weekly on the share account. The Others tab shows us all the other alerts that are available, and we can configure them from in there. Now, each of the different alerts have different meanings, obviously. An all balances statement would mean that you statement every scheme on an account. An ATM transaction is the example we showed you in the first screen. So that's if an ATM transaction occurs in an account, we want an alert for that. If I want to set that up, all I do is put in a date. So I'm saying I'm going to activate that today, and that means that alert is now active on that account. Another useful one is a balances statement. This is where the member gets just a summary of each scheme and the balance on each of those schemes. Another useful alert is the balance statement, and it allows the member to receive an alert with the balance on each of the different schemes on that account. Just one line for each account, rather than a full statement. Birthday message is pretty straightforward. So that's the member gets a message on their birthday, wishing them a happy birthday or whatever. So the number of other ones here which are useful. Counter receipt is particularly useful, and I put a date against this one. And this is whenever, if this is activated in a member's account, whenever they're in at the counter, the operator will be prompted, does the member want an emailed receipt? And if they say no to that, obviously they'll get a paper one. But if they say yes, a receipt will be generated outbound. These are some DD mandates. Debit card authorization and cancellations are very, very useful. They're if your credit union is handling debit cards. So as soon as a member authorization happens, i.e. the card's used, you'll get an alert. And if the authorization is cancelled, you'll get an alert too. So we would commonly set them up as standard alerts whenever they're setting up cards. So there's a whole list here of one. Unauthorized overdraft, a very useful one. That's whenever a member goes below the authorized amount on their account. So it's basically warning the member because they may incur charges and interest. So as soon as that happens, we generate an alert. Web statement notifications, or whenever the member gets a regular alert to say their statement's available online, you can turn that on, off. You can give it at regular frequencies. Another really useful alert is the missed payment alert. Now this is generated automatically when a member misses a payment on their loan, and the payment is within a certain tolerance. So rather than worrying about contacting members 4 or 5 weeks after payments missed, this will contact them the day after they missed the payment if they've missed it within a certain amount. And it'll be a gentle reminder. You can customize the text, but it'll automatically happen. There'll be nobody involved in the credit control. It'll just generate itself automatically. Now for each of the different alerts, we maintain a history, and this history is available here. So you can see on this account, a counter receipt alert was done. And I'll show you that later. Once all the alerts are set up, you simply come back to the screen, hit accept, and that's them configured. I will try and generate an alert here in the counter program just to show you on that account how it would be done. So I pick his account. And I throw my transaction. I'll put €10 in there. So at the point when I hit accept on the transaction, it'll come up. Do you want to print the receipt via email alerts? That would say text if it was text, or it would say online if it was online. Rather than print it, I say yes to that. And that's it. The transaction posts, the email's on its way. One handy feature of the alert system is connected to your history recording of your correspondence. Because obviously it's communication with the member. You want to keep all the correspondence together. So if it's contact by email, by text, or web message, we want to record that and we want to keep you a history. So if you look in the correspondence display screen, we'll be able to see for that account, but we just did a transaction. So in the main correspondence screen, we can see the history that we've recorded against the account. So we can see there's a counter receipt and a welcome to Locus email alerts. So you can double click on the text if you'd like to see the details of what was in the email. Now that's good if it's a simple email. If it's a complicated HTML type one, it's not really readable. And here's an example of what an HTML format email would look like for a counter receipt. You can see brief descriptions here. And it looks, it can be branded whichever way you want on the content here. And we can actually customize this layout as well for you, because this is generated through our normal document layout systems. So it's up to you to decide how you want, what fields you want to display on this receipt. Another thing to remember is because these are all generating activity in an account, if you click on the activity buttons or look at the view the account activity, you'll see the full history here. You can see my counter transaction and my email was sent there. Just showing you how everything integrates together in a neat way, and you can have a good visualization of all the alerting systems set up on the account. In fact, in the account inquiry or any screen which you look at, you can also then jump in and see the history. If I look at that account again here, obviously I want to look at the tenants, so I can look at the tenants information here. If I click on that button, we can look at there's a special tab for alert details, so it'll show you all the alerts that that person's had generated and the mechanism they were generated on. Well, that's everything on alerts we have for you today. Thanks for watching, and I hope you find it very useful.